at Bricker Reserve here, and look who I found. That's B1. Hey B1.
Hi, Tim.
How are you going?
Yeah, not too bad. For another early morning, we've got me up here for.
Well, we're going to be talking about shoes today, and looks like B1 might have his fast shoes on this morning. Yep, it's the pink ones, and believe it or not, those have got some carbon plates in them, so expecting some big things from B1 on the track here today. Talk a little bit later. What's that you've got in your bag there, B1?
Oh, just a couple of shoes here.
Looks like a bag of tricks to me. Wow. Look at that. Not a bad collection.
These are just my current in-commission shoes.
Well, we're going to be talking a bit about shoes today, and we're down at the track, just run a few Ks, and it was interesting from the perspective that, I don't know about you, B1, but there were a few people there coming past at pace, and it seemed to me that there might have been a slight advantage with some of those shoes. What did you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I always marvel at the array of different shoes that people have, because I think everyone's sort of got their favorite, but yeah, as we'll talk about, they're definitely shoes that can give you a bit of pace and advantage.
Okay, well, tell us about a couple of the pairs here. We'll just go through a few of the different types. I always thought we just needed one pair of runners, but once I started running, I realized that it was a little bit more specific than that. So tell us about the ones you've got here.
I'll just start with my basic shoe here. This is the Brooks Ghost 14. So this is a shoe that I've run in different versions of it for probably ever since I've been running, to be honest. So this is just a basic neutral shoe. I use this as my training shoe. Yeah, it's nothing, as we'll talk about these faster shoes, when you put these back on, they don't feel quite as impressive, but they're just really a solid shoe that suits my foot. So
like an everyday trainer,
yeah,
and probably coming in at about 280, 290 grams.
Yeah, I would reckon. It's certainly not the lightest shoe around. But,
yeah, certainly Brooks good for their stable neutral shoes, so it's a good option. Does it come in another color?
With all these models, as you know, they come in all array of colors, but I just normally go for whichever one's on sale, to be honest.
All right, what else you got in there?
Well, why don't we flick it around to you? Why don't you pick up those fuel cells there and tell us a bit about the carbon plated shoes? Alright, so I'll just give these are actually my shoes, but Kev's got carbon plated shoes as well. We'll just talk generally, but these shoes are my favorites. The pink was the only color available, but I got used to them now. I enjoy them, and these shoes, I ran my PB for a half marathon in late last year, so yeah, they're pretty special to me. But anyway, Kev, tell us about
Yeah, so this is the Fuel Cell RC Elite 2 in pink. Comes in a teal and it comes in a purple as well. I have the teal color shortly after the elections. But yeah, I mean, they've got the plate built into them all the way through, and quite a nice foamy, spongy, rebounding type sole. And the idea behind them is that they're going to give you that sort of catapult forward and a lot of rebound. So you do tend to hit the ground on your forefoot and then go forward in a rocket type motion. There is one issue, of course, with these types of shoes, and I think we've probably experienced this a little bit, is if you're pulling them out for everyday runs, that carbon plate does create quite a bit of pushback to your shins and your ankles, and people have picked up ankle problems, so you do need to be a little bit careful and probably rather retain them as your race shoe. So certainly I was training in a pair of Nikes that had a carbon plate and started getting shin splints and realized that was the issue. So yeah, just to be a little bit careful. And the beauty as well is if you do leave these for race day and perhaps a few other runs just in training, it does give you certainly an edge. I know, talking about your PB, similar, I've run some of my fastest, in fact I've run my fastest 5k in a pair of Nike Vaporflies 4%, and I reckon I might have got a little bit more than the 4%, so definitely worth the investment. It gives you a nice push along. So,
Yeah, for those ones, it's interesting, as you say, just leaving them for race day. They're obviously, you never want to run in a shoe that's brand new that you've never run in before. But for those particular ones, I literally just received them. I did a 5K run down here at the track, I think 2 days before the race, and then put those things on, and they felt like I'd been running in them forever. And I could feel the, massive edge. So I've actually run in them too often now, so I've probably got to pull back on them. But they're quite good for your quality sessions on the track as well. But I definitely wouldn't be putting every long training run in those shoes.
Yeah, and they come up at a bit of a premium, these super shoes. They're pretty expensive, so they tend to wear out pretty quickly as well. So you're going to probably pay upward of $250, probably more, closer to 300, up into the 300. So look out for them on special is my tip, and certainly a great shoe, this one. What else have we got, Shaquille?
Why don't we talk a little bit about the trail, because the trail shoes are obviously the different shoe, quite different altogether. And these for me, Kev's traveling, as you can see, so he hasn't got his shoes here. They would be covering this whole area of the track here, but these shoes for me are brand new shoes. I think I've literally run a couple of Ks in them, but and that's because I don't really run trails, but they're an investment for what I plan to do in the next little while. But just very different, a lot stiffer, the soles of the shoes, and that's obviously to handle those sort of that different rough terrain, and then sort of I don't know, what do you call those things on the bottom that give you the grip?
The lugs are going to give you that traction, and these are quite small lugs, so you get more aggressive lugs if you want to do a lot of rock hopping and more technical stuff. But this would be quite a good everyday trail shoe, designed by Roger Federer. No, not designed by him, but this is his company On. But a good looking shoe, blends in with the environment. Are these actually recyclable, Hill?
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest.
They look green.
Yeah, no, and they're super. As I said, I've only put them on once and run with them, but they're super comfy. They actually fit like a glove. They quite sort of don't feel them on your feet, really.
I noticed they don't have a tongue specifically, so it's all a one piece. So that fits nicely over the foot there.
Yeah. They're pretty narrow, you can see from that, so that suits me. I've got a pretty narrow foot. I would say people with sort of wide feet might feel those a bit sort of constricting, but so far, as I said, I'll be testing those on a longer runs later this year. Plan to run the 2 bays 28k, which is a trail run in those, so I've definitely got to start getting into them a bit.
I suppose for a lot of people who start running, they typically will not have a trail shoe in their bag, and only later on start toying with the idea of getting a trail shoe. I've certainly found there's some benefits, but there are also some disadvantages. As you said, they are a lot stiffer. You'll notice there you're not getting a hell of a lot of movement, so that obviously gives you the ability to go on rocks and all that sort of thing, and rocks are not penetrating. But it does mean you're not getting a lot of flexion in the sole and forefoot area. And I've found, particularly having some Achilles issues, that's caused me some grief. So it's just something to think about as well, is you're probably not going to get quite the same comfort levels with a trail shoe.
No.
But certainly it does the job in terms of grip, and if you're running on rock or any terrain that might be slippery, that's a big advantage.
Yeah, it's definitely, safety is the other thing to consider. I agree. Trail running is obviously very different to road running anyway, but so are the shoes, therefore. And I've run all of my trail runs, not many of them, but some pretty technical ones. There's one there that we did in the Grampians, which I would classify as a reasonably technical trail run, lots of loose rocks and climbing. I ran those in my brooks there that you see, and that wasn't the way to go. I think I probably twisted or rolled my ankle about 5 or 6 times on that particular run. So just from a safety perspective, if you're going to do lots of trail running, you definitely want a decent trail shoe.
Yeah, Hill, I think we'll just have to end on a funny pair. I know you've got in your bag there. We were looking at them last night, so I'm gonna move to those because they're quite different to these ones, and you can tell me a bit about them. Yeah, so it's these babies. I think it's half a shoe.
Yeah, these are also the Brooks. I can't even remember the model.
Cascadia or
yeah, no, I don't think
not
they're Cascadia. But anyway, yeah, this is just a bit of an experiment. I don't know if anyone ever remembers the Nike free runs, but these are not dissimilar. They're incredibly flexible, light, no support, and they're not meant obviously for long runs at all. You wouldn't run even a half marathon in these. They just I really just bought them to run here on the track, which I did a bit, but yeah,
it's the Nero 3.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're not. I've just converted these shoes into casual shoes. To be honest, they're not. For me, it's just no support, no cushioning. As I said, you could run a 5K in it, but I wouldn't really try to go more than
Maybe
that.
here on the track, that'd be
Yeah.
okay. But
Yeah.
I certainly think you'd also have to watch if you've got any ankle issues or potential tendonitis or anything like that.
Yeah.
Quite an interesting shoe though.
Yeah, spot on. Okay, well, why don't we actually just finish quickly with those Mizunas, because I know this is my pair, but you've had a same pair, and these are quite special shoes for you, I know.
Yeah, so this shoe is not the best looking shoe in the bag, but it's the Wave Rider 22 Mizuno. A very hardy sole. You can hear those hit the ground and it's pretty noisy. But it was a great shoe for running longer distances, and so don't be put off necessarily by that harder sound. The cushioning's not quite what it would be in a super shoe, so that's something to consider. And it is a heavier shoe by virtue of the uppers that are quite heavy and plush. So the tongue, I always put the shoe on. I now use it for gardening, and I put the shoe on. I go, oh wow, that feels so good. And it's just that it's got this really foamy tongue, which feels great, and the upper feels great. So quite an old-fashioned shoe, but I did run Berlin 2019 in these. I did arrive there, and everyone had super shoes, and I was running in these tired old Mizunos. But it got the job done, and you're going to pay a little bit less for something like this, and you can get some distance out of these as well. You can barely see any wear on these. I'm not sure if you've worn them or not. But
yeah, I got to say, I didn't love those shoes, Kev. I've found them. I hate noisy shoes, and as Kev said, those shoes, just because of the soles, they are comfy, but they're quite noisy. So I actually turned those into my trail shoes before I had proper trail shoes, just because of the sort of hardiness and the stiffness of the soles. But yeah, those have also they will become more gardening shoes for me.
Yeah, I think though you get a pair that you've just worn a lot for whatever reason, because it was your shoe at the time, and it becomes a bit of a nostalgic shoe. So this is one for me, although it's probably the ugliest shoe I've come across. I'm sure it does come in other colours too, but I'd suggest they've moved into the Wave Rider 20, probably close to 30 by this stage. That's the 22. But we might leave it there, and we hope whatever shoes you have, you're getting the most out of, and do feel free to use some trial and error with shoes, but make sure you don't run in shoes that are obviously not working for you.
Okay, thanks, Kev. Nice to catch up on the track as per usual. And I'm not sure. We don't have a quote. We haven't thought about a quote for the week, but we'll drop one into the video unless you've got one.
Maybe it's, I'll go with the Nike one, just do it, because whatever shoes you have, I think it's important just to get out there and just do it.
Excellent. Thanks, Kev. Have a good week.
Have a good week. See you guys.
Okay.